Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to be calling the regular meeting for April 11th, 2024 to order. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the state flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is going to be approval of the regular meeting agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second?
So I have a motion by Commissioner Billings, second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to public input. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Any individual who would like to discuss an item in more depth may request to be placed on a future agenda. You can find those forms in the county manager's office. Do we have anyone for public speaking? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this will. My name is Jody Pena Osmond. I'm a retired road department employee and taxpayer. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Charlene. I've come before you today to inquire about a recent road department labor position advertised in the Silver City Daily Press. I noticed the salary range of 4 for this salary range sounds like what Freeport classifies their positions at. I also noticed the hourly rates for this labor positions have changed as well. So what this advertisement is saying is that a laborer with little to no experience would start out at $16.61 per hour, and upon completion of their 6-month probationary period would move up to $19.10 per hour, and eventually max out at $21.59 per hour. Seriously, $21.59 per hour? When I retired on 3/23 of 23 with 43 and a half years of dedicated service, I was maxed out at $19.28 an hour. A job that now 4 people are doing at the road department because my position was never filled. What I was wondering, and I know this isn't a question and answer, but I'm just gonna ask. What would my old position minimum hourly rate start out if it had been advertised? What would the max be? And say, for example, had I not retired when I did, a newly hired labor would have surpassed my rate of pay. This is wrong, you know? So basically, the newly hired employees would also surpass the veteran employees that have been there 10, 15, 20, and over 25 years. So I think this really needs to be looked into. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public speaking? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, my name is Ben Dodson. As you can probably tell by the radio, I'm a member of your volunteer fire department. And speaking to, what is this ordinance, 01/01/24, whatever it is, let me relate a little anecdotal story to you. 1 in the morning, this radio will go off, I will go to the station, 3 people will show up, it's the same 3 people every time. Usually 4, because one's out on a medical. One of those 3 people has been for probably over a year been requesting a document from you all saying, we have a little bit of liability coverage, something to keep us from, harm, if you will. The other person has been trying to get his insurance company to supply him with such an insurance. None exists. Myself, I have assets that I put at risk every time I show up. And then you come out with an ordinance, and if I will, could read this to you. You should have read it yourself many times, but who knows? Each member shall be held accountable and responsible for their individual actions. No officer, member, or of any department shall be exempt from these requirements in cases where county property, department personnel, or citizens and their property are at risk. So, we've already lost, what was it, what'd they call it? The state took away qualified immunity from us. So I'm hanging out a little further now. So of those people, those 4 people that show up, like say one of them currently doesn't, show up at 1 a.m., see them every time, it's always the same people. One of them has 30 years of wildfire experience. One of them puts in probably 20 hours a month. For the department, myself, I go to everything I can. And we're looking saying, we have nobody backing us. If something goes wrong, I'm hung out to dry. And I know there's at least, I did your bios, and I'm pretty sure there's 1 fire personnel and 1 former police officer here. And would you work under those conditions? I don't get paid. You can't afford a full-time fire department, I understand. It's the mathematics of the situation. I have no support from you at all. I get things like this. And you're gonna pass this, but you haven't passed it, you've already hired the person and sent them out to tell us that, here's our new guy that this says you're gonna hire. You've already done it. So I've got to believe you're gonna pass this. And that's all I have to say about that. There is one other issue, and I'll touch this very lightly. Certain information that would be very personal to me that I wouldn't want out, got out. And we all know, I don't need to say anything more. And no one here decided to tell me that my personal information was accidentally sent out through no fault of anyone. Really, it was kind of a mistake. I hold no grudge against that person who divulged my private information. But it's been 3+ weeks now, and I haven't received any official notification. I just kind of got hey, you might need LifeLock. You might need something to help you out. And I'd like to tell the person that hasn't decided to tell everyone that their personal information has been sent out of a word, since we're talking about liability, it's a word called fiduciary responsibility. And I think you might want to look into it and then do the proper thing, because you're going to lose people. So those 3 people that show up every day, every night at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and go do things for you for free, which I'm happy to do, I just want a little backing. Those people are really considering maybe we're not going to show up anymore because you're not backing us. We've asked for information saying, hey, here's what's going to happen, and we get an ordinance that says just the opposite. Have a good time. We're not responsible. It's all up to you. And that's all I've got to say. So I'm strongly opposed to this. And I believe our chief was in here and he said, you could lose people because of this. And you're losing firemen is significant.
Okay, sir, your 5 minutes are up.
Yep.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. I hope you
Do we have anyone else for public speaking?
Hello there. I actually am here on behalf of Give Grandly. Ted Presler actually was supposed to be here with Southwest Word Fiesta. Unfortunately, he had some commitments come up and he couldn't. So me and Ollie are here in lieu of that.
What is
and
your name?
Nick Smith. Some of you know me, some of you don't, but I'm sure all of you eventually will get to know me. I am this is my second year being the coordinator for Give Grandly, and I think that most of you know what Give Grandly is. But for those who don't, Give Grandly is our local communal fundraiser. And it's been going on for over 10 years. It started in 2014 as an initiative from the state. I'm sorry, I do not know what she just did. It started as Give Grande. And that was taken up by the Grant County Community Foundation as an initiative that they wanted to go ahead and do. And they gathered all of the nonprofits from the area, and they had a communal fundraiser, and it was such a hit, great job, that that they tried to do it again. And when they asked the state, can we use the name Give Grande? They were like, no, it's ours. So we were like, okay, we'll be Give Grandly. And it has been that for the last 10 years. And in the last 10 years, Give Grandly has raised $1.6 million for the nonprofits, not only in Grant County, but those that participate from Luna, Hidalgo, and Ketron. Sorry. So, last year alone, we had 63 participating organizations from 3 of those counties, and we raised $235,000. And I just think it is a testament to working together and collaborating and not striving to take resources from one another, but joining together and sharing in the pool. The saying goes, with a rising tide, all boats rise. And I think that that is true for Give Grandly. This year we have 65 participating nonprofits from the, I think, 3 counties again. And we will be having an event on May 4th in the downtown Main Street Plaza behind Adobe Springs, and all of the booths will be set up there. So they will be showcasing their work to the public. They will be asking the community to join in a spirit of philanthropy and instilling this in our youth with engaging activities that we have for people of all ages. So there will be bikes, there will be backcountry horsemen who teach kids how to cut through logs on our trails. There will be people who are showing people how to use binoculars and bird watching. We will have like the Grant County Imagination Library who will be passing out books. There will be bookmarks and just tons of different engaging activities. So if you guys have any interest in learning about the amazing work that the nonprofits contribute to this county and this area, I ask you all to come down and meet with the people who run and volunteer with these organizations and just get to know them a little bit better. There's an amazing way to volunteer in this community again through the Volunteer Center, and they are plugging people into these different nonprofits because, as you guys know, nonprofits in this community are an economic force. So this is just another way to highlight the work that they're doing. Just last ideas, which is if you cannot make it, don't worry. We can still take your money. We will open giving online on April 20th, and it will close on May 20th. So no matter where you are, if you can't make it, you can still give to your favorite nonprofits. You can find out about new nonprofits because every year we have new nonprofits that are coming up in this county. And I mean, just to name a few, Earthways is one, Crooked Forest Institute is another, and it's just amazing to see the work that people are doing to try to fill the service gaps that our government and business
Thank you. Your
agencies
5 minutes are
cannot
up.
handle. Thank you guys so much. We hope to see you.
Do we have anyone else for public speaking? Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Moving on to next item of the agenda is going to be proclamation. Under item A, consideration of proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, County Manager.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I am pleased to read this proclamation. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our law enforcement officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Grant County Regional Dispatch Authority. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our law enforcement officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Grant County Regional Dispatch Authority have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore, we, the Grant County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2024, to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Grant County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our community and citizens safe.
Thank you. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation as presented. So I made the motion, Commissioner Medina seconded the motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Do you have anybody here to have this presented to? Okay.
They're working all over. They're all communicating.
Okay, moving on to the next item is consideration of proclamation National Correctional Officers Week, Mr. Anasola. Is Christy gonna read it, or Christy? She'll read it, thanks.
Whereas correction officers and employees are capable, committed, patient, and persistent professionals, they serve admirably in correction facilities all across the country as chaplains, teachers, counselors, officers, supervisors, managers, and directors. They keep our citizens and communities safe. Correctional officers and employees teach, train, mentor, preach, care for, and whereas though the job of correctional officers and employees is very challenging and at times stressful, the thousands who work the correctional profession every day perform duties well and with great pride. They are brave, courageous, and tenacious individuals who put their lives and health at risk every day to keep the public safe and provide a multitude of services to the nation's offenders. They have a tremendous responsibility and are owed our nation's gratitude. And whereas correctional officers and employees are most deserving of our respect, our thanks, and highest praise. They are well trained, always on watch, and prepared to meet any challenge. The men and women working in corrections make a difference in our communities. Now therefore, the Grant County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024, to be declared as National Correction Officer Week, in honor of those who currently serve in the correctional profession, those who have served, and those who have given their lives in pursuit of this most honorable occupation.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve this proclamation as
Second.
presented.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Billings. Do we have any discussion? Only thing, Mr. Anasola, thank you and thank your staff and all the correction officers throughout the world. You guys do a fantastic job. It's a rough job and we thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioner.
Anything else, Commissioners? Discussion?
Comment.
All those in favor?
He has a comment.
Oh, you have a comment? Go ahead.
So, Mr. Anzola, just appreciate the presentation you do for your department. It's amazing. You bring so much data and information to us that it's really appreciated. And it seems that you have a good staff that works really hard for you. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You're going to present this to him?
You're not getting out of it. Come on up. Okay, moving on to next item, which is C, is consideration of proclamation, National Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. We have GASA Program Director Tanya Ortiz and the Deputy Program Manager Joanne Vasquez. Is Christy going to read this one also? Thank you.
Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. Whereas the County of Grant recognizes that each child is a contribution to the community and every child is entitled to be loved, cared for, nurtured, and feel free from verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and neglect. Whereas child abuse and neglect are a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. Child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects with lasting consequences for victims of abuse. Based on the latest data collected from the Child Maltreatment Report, fiscal year 22, it is found that child abuse and neglect is prevalent in the United States. There were 76% of neglected victims reported, 16% physically abused reported, 10.1% of sexual abuse, and 0.2% are sex trafficked. Whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. We acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. Therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Grant County hereby proclaims the month of April as National Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. And whereas the Board of Grant County Commissioners urge all citizens to recognize and acknowledge each child for their accomplishments and to dedicate yourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve this proclamation as presented.
A second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Edwards, a second by Commissioner Medina. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Aye, motion carries. Can you come up to the microphone, please?
So this is one of our volunteers, our class of volunteers, Andrew. He currently works with 2 cases of children in our community that are part of CYFD. So he's one of our greatest assets, and I just want to acknowledge him as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you guys do. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere.
Now I'm here for the show. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to next item is going to be under presentations. We have a presentation by Ms. Teresa Villa with Cobra Parent Center. She's going to give us an overview of the program.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, and Board. My name is Teresa Villa. I'm here representing the Cobra Consolidated School District. Recently, we had a grand opening for our Cobra Parent Center. So the Parent Center, it consists of a clothing closet and a old-fashioned grocery store, which was supported by the Commons. And we get a bunch of donations of clothing for our community members, which it serves our families within the mining district. And the grocery store also serves our families within the mining district. We also have a place there at the center that we're hoping to have classes such as GED classes, domestic violence classes, any support that's needed for our mining district families. Within the community, we want to have it for all community members, not just the mining district. So our hopes are to expand it eventually and have one area just for the grocery store and the other area just for the clothing closet. I'm hoping that each of you go and visit it because I think it's going to be a huge asset to our mining district. So, and we're also accepting donations, which can be clothing, it can be, money. We want more hygiene products if possible, and we're accepting donations for underwear, socks, things like that for the kids. And the sizes are all the way from newborn all the way up to adult sizes. We have diapers, formula, stuff like that for babies because we have a lot of need in the mining district for clothing and all those necessities that these families lack right now.
I may have missed it, but where is it located?
So the Family Center is located in Bayard, and it's right next to the Bayard Elementary behind the Copper Little League field. So.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other questions, commissioners, or comments?
Oh, we're open from 8 to 5, and we're also open during the summer. So I really do hope all of you go and see it because I'm telling you that it's going to be amazing. So, and I'm hoping to get pictures of all the kids, not just from the mining district, but Silver also, so that we can fill the walls with kids because that's the purpose of it, so.
Good question.
Commissioner Medina?
If we have donations, do we just drop them off there?
Yes, sir, you can drop them off there, or you can contact me. My contact information is on the Cobre website. I'm also the Title IX coordinator, so, and I'm the project coordinator at the Cobre School District, so
Thank
you
you.
guys can find my contact information on there. Any
Thank you.
questions?
Cool. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Moving on to next item of the agenda, it's going to be recognition of Grant County DWI Program Director Daniel Graves, County Manager.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'd like to present the certificate of appreciation to Daniel Graves, our local DWI coordinator, for going above and beyond for the 2024 Teen Maze. You heard his presentation on Tuesday. His dedication to create a hands-on, realistic, educational, and creative experience for the youth of Grant County is greatly appreciated. I've mentioned to you previously, I think he knocked this out of the park. He did an amazing job, one of the best I've ever seen. And I think he definitely has earned more than this piece of paper, and I just wanted to publicly acknowledge the work of Daniel and his staff for an amazing and successful event. Let's go take a picture.
Sorry, my phone was in my way.
Thank you, Mr. Graves. Next item on the agenda is going to be Dr. Fred Fox from Gila Regional Board of Trustees. He'll be giving us a report.
Thank you. My presentation was supposed to be last month, but I was going to be out of the area for an extended period, and I appreciate the opportunity to present now. Since some of the activities occurred while I was gone, Mr. Whitaker and I will present in conjunction today. Wanted to comment that we have a new board member, Jason Amaro, who joined since my last presentation. He's been actively involved. Another activity that Mr. Whitaker and I have been involved in is working in collaboration with area and local and state entities towards reestablishing the family medicine program, the family medicine residency program. As many of you know, the importance of primary care in this area is crucial to the well-being of the health of our citizens, and the reestablishment of the residency program will provide more primary care as well as the ability to attract more primary care providers to the community. So we continue to move forward on that endeavor, and it's making good progress. I'll invite Mr. Whitaker up so we can do this together.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, in regards to the board report, I'm appreciative of the board and the work that they've done in regards to capital and the things that we've been doing and improving so that we can keep the building and our equipment up to date and ongoing. But I've got additional things within my report to cover.
Okay, I'm a little confused here. Are we going to get a report from the trustees or both of you, or, because I have two separate line items here.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chair, and that's kind of why I stopped. I didn't know procedurally how you wanted to approach that. I just let you go through that and then go to the next item, or I can just keep continuing.
Okay, you done, Mr. Fox, Dr. Fox?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's fine. I'm done with that, other than maybe commenting on any questions you have.
Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, I just want to mention, I really appreciate your highlighting the residency program. That's super important for our area. Glad you're moving forward with reestablishing that. So I wanted to thank you for that. That's the only comment I have on Dr. Fox's report.
Yeah, I have a question. Oh, sorry. I have a question, Dr. Fox. So what will the residency program look like when it's fully reestablished? What's your goal?
Some of the details are still being looked at, but in general, we've been looking at some alternative funding models to try to increase the available fundings to support the residency program. It would at this point continue to be what's called a 1+2 program. I mean, family medicine residency programs are 3 years. The first year would be spent, that's one, would be spent at Memorial Medical Center in Las Cruces and with primarily inpatient rotations. The following 2 years of the 3-year residency program would be spent here locally in Silver City. And at this point, we're looking at collaborating between local providers, the hospital and the hospital's outpatient clinics, and the Hidalgo Medical Center to provide that clinical experience. The details of that, as I said, are still being worked out.
Thank you. That gives us a good overview, I think.
And that would be, at this point, 2 residents a year. So in the summer of 2025, assuming that things progress as hoped, the first 2 residents as interns or first-year residents would start in Las Cruces. The following year, the residency years go July 1st to June 30th. Those 2 residents would move to here locally in Silver City. An additional 2 first-year residents would start in Las Cruces. And that would continue on then each year.
Okay, great, thanks.
So if it overlaps, then we would actually have 4 residents once it gets started in the community from the program, correct?
We would have, yes, from 2
2 years
second-year
into it,
residents
you
and
have
2
4.
third-year, once it was fully in place.
Fully in place.
There's also some discussion of possibly in the future of increasing that to 3 a year, but that's down the line a fair amount. In addition to those 4 residents who would be available to be seeing patients in primary care, the associated faculty member would also be in the community and be available for seeing individuals for care as well.
Well, if there's anything the county can do to help you with that, please let us know, because that is obviously of huge value to our community in terms of primary care services that we can offer. So best of luck to you on the forward progress on that.
We will keep you posted. We are currently meeting almost weekly about that, and good progress is being made. And the parties at the state, regional, and local level are committed. The hospital is committed, and the board is committed to moving forward and reestablishing that program.
I have one more follow-up question. So what happened to that program? I mean, it was operational at some point. What were the barriers that made it stop, and what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen again?
It occurred 2-3 years ago, and the primarily reason the program was placed on hold was they lost the needed residency director faculty to continue it, and it could not continue as a accredited program without that. That's a challenge, just as a challenge to get enough primary care providers in any rural community. That was the acute reason, as I understand it, for the program having to stop. So part of the challenge we have is being able to attract and retain qualified faculty members and preceptors for the program to continue, as well as administrative leaders.
That's where the cost comes in.
Thank you, Dr. Fox.
Thank you. So we're going on to the hospital report now.
Well, there's another change in technology here, and I apologize, maybe I just didn't get it right. I don't want to take up much more time trying to get this going in terms of how we do this, and okay, I apologize. You put your presentation back up. That's fine. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, County officials, thank you for your patience. And I'll keep working with Christy in terms of making sure I try to do this better. I just wanted to go through a few of the financials and statistics for you. In the month of February, so this is 8 months year-to-date as well, we had 92 discharges compared to 78 last month of prior year. Still about 90 discharges lower year-to-date than prior year-to-date. We had 244 surgeries compared to 256, and about 90 surgeries less than prior year-to-date. Deliveries, we had 17 deliveries in the month of February compared to 16 February of last year, and kind of just right in line with year-to-date as well. Our ER visits, 1,338 ER visits compared to 1,302 last month, and about 500 less year-to-date than prior year-to-date. Outpatient visits do continue to increase, and I'll talk a little bit about that when I get to the financials, but about 600 more than in the month of prior year, and we're about 3,500 higher prior year-to-date. Net operating revenue, we reported $8.2 million in net operating revenue compared to $6.5 million last year. Our operating expenses of $7.9 million compared to $6.5 last year. We did report an operating profit of $273,000 for the month of February, and that puts us at, for year-to-date, negative $42,000. So just about that break-even point. You'll see that revenue is up significantly over prior year, but so are the expenses. And most of that is attributed to the growth of our cancer center. You know, the cancer center last year, about this time, really started to pick up and take off, and so we see increased visits in the cancer center, and but it's the drugs and pharmaceuticals used in the cancer center are expensive, but they are reimbursed, and so that drives the majority of our increased cost as well as revenues. Operating days cash, 120 in terms of operating cash, and then 148, that 28 is the long-term investments that we have in a couple CDs, as well as the New Mexico Public Investment Fund or something like that we have funds in as well. We had $114,000 of charity care in the month of February compared to $96,000 last year. So. Capital dollars, still about the same amount that I had reported last month. We do have a few things. Our labor and delivery renovation project is still on schedule to finish at the end of May. We are going to have kind of a open house, if you will. I think we're calling it a baby shower, but we'll allow people to come in and kind of have a nice party with the opening of that renovation. A few projects that we're getting ready to start. Early May, we're going to start on 2 with our telephone system and our wireless LAN system network. Those 2 projects will start at the beginning of May, and we need to get those 2 done in order to move on to the next 2. The next one we'll do after that is our telemetry system and then our nurse call system. Those dollars that you see there are not reflected in our current year-to-date capital spend, and so we've, between the 2 years, just about $6 million in capital and back in regards to equipment and facilities. But we'll get started with, like I said, the phone system and wireless system and move on to a few things. Yeah. All right. A few of the projects and items that we're going through, we are just now kicking off our community health needs assessments. We've had an initial call with our contractor to do that. We are kind of gathering up. They're going to have 3 on-site visits here, and they want to have some like town hall, have some key informant type interviews. We're going to do a variety of things in regards to how we reach out to people, and so that's in progress. One thing I do want to mention is community benefit report. So we've finished and we've published our inaugural community benefit report. It is on our website. What this does is it shows our impact with the community. It regards to admissions, some of the statistics, some of the financials, and our impact, what we contribute in regards to salaries and benefits, charity care, capital expenditures, and our operating profit. It goes through our foundation, some of the contributions our foundation has, and as well as our auxiliary. And so this is our first one. We'll kind of do this every year once we have audited financials finished. But we're excited about this. Again, it's on our website, available for anyone to look at and to download. Our next board meeting is April the 24th, Hospital Week. We do have I'm appreciative of recognition of weeks and departments, and so Hospital Week is coming up May 12th through the 18th. We're going to have quite a few activities and recognition and engagement events for all the hospital medical staff. I do have a community town hall that's going to be May 28th from 5 to 7 at the Veterans Memorial Business and Conference Center. And one of the big things that I do want to talk about and discuss and go through are transfers and what that means, and just kind of dig in through the data and kind of talk about that with the community. So that'll be upcoming. We have made some changes. I'm grateful for the board in terms of allowing management to make some much needed changes to our emergency room. We've had some challenges over the last little while, few months, in regards to the schedule and how the schedule was built with physicians and providers, and it was a carryover from the previous group, and really needed to change to a better schedule where we had physicians 24/7 in our emergency room. Prior to this, there was a physician on call in the evening and at night with an advanced practice provider on site in the ER, and we worked through some things and the board approved. And so starting in April this month, we've switched around. There is a physician 24/7 within the ER. We did have a scenario at the end of May 22nd, where there was March, yeah, all right. Where we had an issue where there was the potential for not having a provider in our emergency room through some misunderstandings, I guess, maybe on both sides of our ER provider company and the ER physician there, and in regards to coverage. I do want to report that at no time was there a lack of physician or provider within our emergency room. We were able to provide coverage, and through this kind of emergency type privilege situation. It's certainly not ideal in terms of how we wanted to operate, and we've had several conversations with our ER provider group in regards to their commitment and obligation to our hospital, our emergency room, our community, and really in terms of our hospital license and what that means. And so I think they have a good understanding of what we want and where we're coming from. And with the change that the board approved for us to do, I think situations like this will be avoided in the future. But I did just want to share that because I know that that's it's been a concern for our medical staff, for management, and our team. So that's the end of my report, and I stand for questions.
I just had a couple of comments on this in the report. As Mr. Whitaker pointed out, the fact that the Cancer Center is functioning now is providing for significant financial benefit to the hospital. In the past, when the Cancer Center was not available, that created a significant financial drain on the hospital. But in addition to the financial benefit of the Cancer Center, the board recognizes, along with the hospital, the importance to the quality of care that brings to the community. Many health problems are best taken care of locally. Certainly for individuals with cancer and needing treatment, the requirement to go out of town is a significant impediment and difficulty. The fact that they can now receive that care locally significantly improves the quality of the care, their likely outcome, and improves the family strain and financial strain. The board's very pleased about that. We also are pleased about the change in the ER coverage. In the significant past, when I was in practice, there was always 24-hour physician coverage in the ER. At some point, I'm not sure when it occurred, that switched to 12 hours of physician coverage followed by 12 hours of advanced practice provider with physician backup. But that clearly creates some challenges. And the new contract that the board approved will reestablish 24-hour-a-day physician coverage with advanced practice practitioner secondary coverage during the busy parts. This, in our opinion, is going to provide for much better quality of care to the community. In addition, the board is very pleased and supportive of the capital expenditures. As the financial position of the hospital is improved, we're now able to look at the list of capital expenditures and infrastructure needs and starting to provide for those. There's still significant needs there, but the fact that the hospital is on a much better financial footing, which began while you all were still the governing body and has continued through this fiscal year, means that we can start addressing these.
You know, one thing that really bothers me and has bothered me for the last few weeks is that we didn't have coverage. And you guys call it ED, I call it ER. That's the way I was raised in calling it. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's possibly some patients that might have had to been transported to Deming to get care.
That is not correct.
That's not correct, that's good. My biggest thing is I understand what the Board of Trustees has done. I do not understand, and maybe it's partly our fault also, being previous Board of Trustees, how we don't schedule somebody for that ER on a 24, or ED, whatever you want to call it, for 24 hours. But I'm glad that you put that. I just don't want this to happen again. And I hope that you, hearing what you've done, I hope it stays that way. I hope people check on it. And I hope that they do continue to provide the 24-hour services. You know, it's disheartening to me when you get comments from the public that we don't have a doctor in an emergency room. I mean, it's beyond me. It's called an emergency room for a reason, especially on the weekend when clinics aren't open. So I'm having a hard time swallowing that. You know, when we were the Board of Trustees, we asked a company to come in, help us get through the financial times. I know you can't think of everything, but, you know, I'm glad somebody's on top of it. I mean, the positive part, and I hope this doesn't happen again. I mean, I'll leave it at that. Commissioners, do you have anything else or any questions or anything?
I have a clarification. To be clear, it sounded like what you said was there was never a time when there was not physician coverage, that you did manage to cover it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then the changes, contractual changes you've made, the ER, the company that you're contracting ER services with have agreed to those changes, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Anything else, Commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Billings?
Dr. Fox, Mr. Whitaker, thanks for coming today and giving us that report. I appreciate it. Appreciate the direction that you're headed. I was one of your recent visitors to the ER. I just want to say, in respect to that, I'm glad that Mrs. Webb, Charlene, can be present as a non-voting member of the board. She was able to get me some information relative to my visit. I didn't have to bother you guys. I had some questions, you know, and she updated me on some stuff that's going on. I know that some people have thought maybe that she's a plant or something, but I think it's really good to call it what you want, but I think it's really good to have the coordination between the county and the hospital governing board. And I don't know how it's working from your end, Dr. Fox, but from my perspective, it works really good to have Charlene on that board and be able to reassure us from time to time, or at least me, and with some of the questions that I have with things that are going on. And thanks for your report today. Thank you.
I appreciate the fact that Charlene Webb is on board. I think it's important that there is collaboration between the county commission and the board of trustees. That in the past I don't think was clear and allowed for a lot of misunderstanding and lack of governance. And I certainly appreciate her presence there. She's been a valuable member.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item of the agenda is the elected official reports. Madam Deputy Clerk, do you have a report? Okay, moving on to our County Treasurer, Mr. Khan.
Good morning, Chairman Ponson, Commissioners. Before you is the tax maintenance report. The total taxes collected for the month of March is $303,130.83. So far for the 2023 tax roll, $9,451,917.78 has been collected, which left the county at a collection percentage of 67.84%. For the total 2023 tax roll, $4,779,792.33 remains uncollected. The total percentage collected for the total 10-year collection as of March 31st, 2024 is 92.86%, of which a total of $114,934,431.02 of taxes were collected. That leaves a total uncollected balance of taxes of $8,840,886.40. The status of the Treasurer's Office: second collection has begun as of yesterday. Property owners have until May 10th to pay before penalty and interest is assessed to their property tax. We are currently working on collecting on 263 property tax accounts, so they are not sent to the property tax division. And they have until the end of June of this year to pay. And these are going to be for tax years 21 through 23. The status of the solid waste department: Ms. Torres just billed for the solid waste bills. She also mailed about 140 lien letters to residents that have neglected to pay their balance due with solid waste. Next month, we will come before you to seek approval to add liens for those that don't pay. On a side note, I want to thank our IT staff, IT Director Baca, Robert and Gabe for everything that they have done. They've came in and helped us with everything, just configuration. We recently went through the e-commerce bridge pay module with GovPros, and that's been a big hit. We're live now at our front counters, and property taxes are easily collected, so we're ready for second half, and I'll be ready for first half for 24 coming up this fall. I personally want to thank my staff for all their hard work, and we're just going to keep going. That concludes my report, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Billings.
I missed what you said. Next month, you're coming before us for what?
So for solid waste, there's a process. So we will come before you, solid waste and myself. Ms. Doris will give a presentation during, I believe, the work session, letting you how many liens she's going to be seeking to place liens for unpaid solid waste amounts.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
So the 67.84%, how does that mean? Is that about normal for this time of year?
That
How does
is.
compare to
We're
last
about a
year's?
couple points more than last year, so I'm happy with
Yeah, it had a
that.
couple more points
Yes.
than last year.
Mhm.
That's good news.
Yes.
And I assume, I'm not Mr. Brown when it comes to looking at these things mathematically, just off the top of my head. So the 92% has been dragged down by the 67%, the not total collected, right?
Commissioner Ponce, Commissioner Edwards, the 67 is included with the 92.86,
Right.
so that's going to be the
because
total
it's not a
10-year.
complete year, then
Correct.
it's drags the percentage down.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Because our annual, once you close this out, our annual average of collection percentage is what?
It's normal
about
about
96, is that
96. I'm hoping for
96 and a half?
97. My goal is 97.
That would be a record.
Yes, it would.
Because we still remain at about a little over $400,000 uncollected. Thanks. But it is getting better, thank you.
It is. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anything else, Commissioners? Thank you. Sheriff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. Before I bring my report for the month of March, in the month of March, the Sheriff's Office had a number of calls of 1,664 calls for service. 462 were dispatched and 1,202 were self-initiated. The Sheriff's Office did have 128 offense reports. We did investigate 20 crashes in the county. We had a total of 51 animal complaints. We had investigated a total of 10 alarm calls, 24 domestic violence calls, 5 criminal damage to property. We had 4 stolen motor vehicles, and we did have 6 mental health complaints during the month. In regards to training with the Sheriff's Office, Deputy Joshua Reeser attended the DARE instructor course. Now having 4 DARE instructors will help us out with scheduling for the school districts in Grant County. Corporal John Hebert attended the Read Technique Interview and Advanced Interrogation course. This type of technique will help in getting relevant statements while out on the field for prosecution. Sergeant Jacob Martinez attended Field Training Officer course. Having another FTO in our civil division will help aid our FTO program. New officers who are going through the program train in every division of the Sheriff's Office. Corporal Jade Benavides attended DWI checkpoint training. This training will demonstrate on how to manage a successful DWI checkpoint. The class covered all aspects including objectives, operational plans, legal issues, safety concerns, and DOT guidelines and final practical exercise. Corporal Brandon Reese attended close quarter tactics certification. This training covered sudden, unprovoked, close quarter lethal attacks. The training covered but was not limited to officer survival, immediate reaction and control weapon as evidence to multiple attackers, reality-based training threat scenarios as well. In regards to what I wanted to bring out, one of the issues that we're dealing with here recently is we're dealing with a lot of scams going on through the county. There is a scam going on right now where people are receiving phone calls claiming that it's the Sheriff's Office that's calling them, that they have warrants or they have something that needs to be taken care of at the Sheriff's Office, and they need to provide either a gift card with funding in it. They need to go to Walmart and buy this card and bring it to the Sheriff's Office, or send in the number. I just want to let the public know that the Sheriff's Office will never call and tell you any information like that, or any organization that does call you and ask you to go get a gift card or do something online and send it through online. That is a big red flag. Please follow up on it. Don't get scammed. We have had some individuals that have actually done that actually went and got the gift cards and sent them off, and they lose out on that money. So I just want to make that clear to the public that if it entails any personal information or any funding be sent, please verify it. They are more than welcome to call the Sheriff's Office if they get a call from somebody saying that it is a representative from the Sheriff's Office. Please follow up on it. In regards to personnel, I would like to welcome Darren Borrego to the Sheriff's Office. He has started with us. Currently, he is enrolled in the Police Academy, and he is scheduled to graduate this June, so we look forward to bringing him on board as a new deputy. In regards to the U.S. Forest Service funding, forest runs will commence in late April, early May, and we'll be conducting patrols in the campground areas out in the county. In regards to Stone Garden, we continue to be active in the areas of Hachita and highways 180, 152, 61, and 90. Fiscal year 23 has been approved and will commence operation in July. In regards to our JAG funding, we have had multiple operations having been conducted by the FAU unit, which is our Fugitive Apprehension Unit. Utilizing this JAG funding, this unit has conducted surveillance on multiple residents known for active warrants and narcotics. The FAU had 27 arrests with active warrants for the month of March, so they were pretty active during the month. And finally, I would like to personally thank all my staff for all their hard work that they continue to do day in and day out for our community. I'm really appreciative and proud of what they continue to do for us. I stand for any questions if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Questions, commissioners? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have any other elected officials, right? Okay. Moving on to next item of the agenda is going to be approval of minutes for March 12th, 2024 work session minutes, March 14th, 2024 regular meeting minutes, and March 26th, 2024 special meeting. I'll make a motion to approve these minutes. Also, we did have executive sessions in these meetings, and only the items that were on the agenda were discussed, and the only action taken, I believe, was the 14th, and that was done in public back when we came out of executive session.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, moving on to next item on the agenda was going to be financial reports. Be consideration of expenditure report dated April 2nd, 2024, which was presented to us by Ms. Vasquez during the work session.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the expenditure report as presented.
Second?
So I have a motion by Commissioner Edwards, I have a second by Commissioner Brown. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to new business, under item J, consideration of new Cliff Fire Department Chief Preston Johnson and Assistant Chief Robert B.J. Agnew.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the election of Mr. Johnson and Mr. Agnew.
I'll second. Okay. So we had a motion by Commissioner Billings, we had a second, I'll go Commissioner Medina. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Moving on to item K, consideration of donation from Valencia County Fire for a 2016 International Structure Engine.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve this donation with our deep appreciation.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Edwards. I believe I had a second from Commissioner Medina. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking somebody should be recognized for how this came about. I'm just curious, and maybe we went over that and I wasn't paying attention the other day, but how do we get this donation?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we were, after the incident that occurred on my first night, Stephen Gonzalez, who's our fire service coordinator for this district from the State Fire Marshal's office, was contacted, and he reached out to us in return with this possibility of a donated engine from Valencia County. They recently received a grant that they got 2 new engines, and they were going to either put this up for auction or donate it if there was a need. And it so happened that we were the first ones that came to mind after our incident, and they've offered the apparatus to Grant County.
Well, that's good news to cover the bad news from your first 24 hours.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I don't know where I'm at.
Vote, sorry.
Okay, so we had a first, second discussion. Was it a question? Any further discussion? This is throwing me off.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item L, consideration of bargain unit contract for 2024-2026. I'd like to make a motion to table that.
Second?
So I have a motion to table, a second by Commissioner Edwards, discussion. They're still working through some stuff on it, so it'll be presented, I believe, at the end of the month, or maybe next.
Yes, so we missed some language and some TAs and getting in the final draft. So we've gotten that rectified. Go back to the union, they'll review it one last time. Once we have their signature, then we'll bring it to you on April the 23rd for your ratification. So it was just some language that we missed getting in the final draft on 3 articles. But we've corrected that, it's gone back to the union last night. And I spoke with Mr. Benavides this morning, and we're good to move forward.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor to table it?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion is tabled. Okay, agreements, moving on to agreement, consideration of agreement 8-24-11, that's the MOU with the 6th Judicial District Attorney's Office for the veterans van usage.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
So a motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Billings and Brown. Do we have any discussion?
This is fun.
Second by Commissioner Billings, Madam Deputy Clerk. Do we have any discussion?
I have no questions.
No, that wasn't throwing me off, it's the paper's going through. Any other
I
discussion?
think it might be allergy fog.
Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, moving on to next agreements, consideration of agreement 8-24-12. It's a property management service agreement, amendment number 3.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of this agreement with the Silver City Grant County Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Edwards. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item O, consideration of agreement 8-24-13. It's going to be an MOU between New Mexico State Fire Marshal regarding the use of office space at the Grant County Silver Street Complex.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Medina, second by Commissioner Billings. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item P, consideration of agreement 8-24-14. It's a El Rio Sol Transmission Line Community Benefit Agreement.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve agreement 8-24-14 with El Rio Sol Transmission Line.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Brown, I have a second by Commissioner Billings. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Hope you didn't come too far out of your way, Mr. Strang.
Okay, moving on to resolutions, going to be consideration of resolution R-24-20, amending the approved and adopted budget for FY commencing July 1st, 2023.
Make a motion that we approve as presented.
I'll second. Do we have any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item R. It's going to be consideration of resolution R-24-21. It's a New Mexico Department of Transportation, TPF project submittal authorization for Ridge Road Phase 2.
Make a motion that we approve as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Billings. Do we have any?
Edwards.
Who, what, where?
It was Commissioner Edwards who made the
Edwards.
motion.
Make the motion.
I was
Okay.
thinking it. I thought it really hard.
We had a motion by Commissioner Edwards, second by Commissioner Billings. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item S, consideration of resolution R-24-22, adopting fleet management policy.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve as presented.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Billings, I have a second by Commissioner Edwards. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving to item T, consideration of resolution R-24-23. It's your order approving request of El Rio Sol Transmission LLC to use certain roads in Grant County and other matters.
I move approval of resolution R-24-23. Second.
So a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Medina. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to maybe get the road use agreement approved. I did notice one little glitch that we have, and this appeared in our first, and I should have caught this, but looking at the maps, I saw 2 lines, and I thought that was all of Grant County. What I would like to do is authorize maybe a slip page and showing that we would like to have all of Grant County Road, not just up to where our power line runs. And this was the same way our first agreement ran. And in the map that we provided, which our mapper just shows it going up to the power line. Of course, that CPAR road runs into Gage Road, and so we would like to be able to approach that line from both directions. There's a little bit of Grant County that meets the Gage Road right at the Luna County line, and like I said, I just wanted to clarify that, and that's in our agreement that we have with SunZia right now for line 1. So I apologize for that. That's our fault. That's not any fault of anybody else. We should have caught that, but our mapper showed it just going to the power line. We would like to include that little stretch between the power line and the Gage Station Road that goes to Luna County.
So we did that, I think I hear what you're saying, Mr. Strand, is we did that in the last agreement?
Yes, that's actually the way our last agreement, and we had the same problem with that, and so we apologize that our mapper doesn't connect it with the road that connects to the Luna County Gage Road, but we would like to utilize that, which they're utilizing right now with the SunZia construction.
So we could amend the motion by saying that we'd use the map in the original agreement?
Can we do that, Commissioner, County Manager? Yeah?
So, I think the only reference is in the whereas, not in the.
Well, what I'm looking at are the maps that were,
Exhibit A.
yeah, and presented as the exhibits of the county. When you look at the one map that shows it going to the power line, and we would like that one road that's from the CPAR road that connects with Gage Road. We would like that little piece that connects it to Gage Road.
So in my,
I didn't get, John, I didn't get the map. I didn't get the map, and I assumed we were doing it like we did last time, and you provided the map after you determined exactly where you were gonna be doing the
Oh,
work,
okay,
so.
okay. So if the resolution is good, then,
The language in the resolution says that you have the right to use these. Exhibit A, we didn't attach the map, because
Okay.
I thought that was still in work since she didn't, I
Okay,
didn't get the map.
yes.
And that's sort of how we worked that out last time, is that map constantly changes depending
Okay.
on where you're working.
All right.
And that's how our agreement with Scout Clean Energy works, and that's sort of how we worked on the SunZia. So, I mean, obviously, this is development for the county, and we're gonna work with them in any way possible, and from time to time, those maps change, so.
So we can just approve this as presented.
Right, so the only thing that's gonna change is the exhibit, the language in the resolution itself. We give them the authority to access these roads as they need for their construction purposes.
Okay.
so the
That makes sense.
updated map will just be the exhibit.
So, do we
We have a motion and a second, right?
Yeah, amend the motion?
We can just approve it.
Just
Yeah,
approve
we
it?
don't need to.
As presented, because Exhibit A is going to be the map
Okay.
Mr. Strand is asking for.
So we have the motion and everything, and we're good to approve the way it is. All right, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And thank you.
Okay, moving on to, next item on the agenda is going to be commissioner reports. Commissioners, do you have any reports?
I just want to briefly thank the county staff and everyone that works in the county. I'm continually seeing improved processes, procedures, and administration function, accountability to the public, from the top to the bottom. And it's not just a few things. I don't want to just start pulling people out and talk about the newsletter or something else. But I mean, the newsletter's great. I don't want to leave anyone out. It's on multiple levels of increased procedures, administration, and accountability, and it's noticeable. And I appreciate all the hard work and how it's coming together in recent months, especially. Thank you.
Okay, any, Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, briefly. Just a reminder to the driving public, at this time of year, there's extra traffic on our roads. I drove to Lordsburg on Monday, and there were 3 different people hiking the Continental Divide using State Route 90. And there's a pretty good shoulder on State Route 90, so I didn't think that was too much of a safety problem. But we know also that they use Highway 180 from Mangus into town and Little Walnut. And given the construction happening in Little Walnut, that's a particular concern. So I'm hoping folks will keep an extra eye out for bicyclists and hikers using our roads for the next 3 months or so. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Anything, Commissioner Medina? Okay, no report from me, so, okay, good. Okay, meeting adjourned.